one of the few. I feel it.
Glad that you could all make it. So this is our third video coaching corner, right?
Yes.
Yeah. No one is calling in, but we are recording it, so hopefully we have something good to share with people. Before we start, I read something that I thought I'd like to share with you guys, and the reason I wanted to do it is because it's so true. Put your face in there and say hello. I find that when I look at a task or a goal, I can get easily overwhelmed. How many of you guys are like that?
Every day.
Every day, right? Like if I say, I need to do all these things today and get them done, I don't get anything done. But then if I write 1, 2, 3, and I just hit one at a time, I usually get through the whole list with no problem. It's when you look at it as a whole, rather than breaking it down into small little pieces, that it seems insurmountable. So do that with your businesses. Break it down into the smallest pieces that you can. And this was something that somebody wrote, and it says, approach your goals with one question. What's the tiniest amount of change I can make that will propel me towards my goal, but not take me too far outside my comfort zone? And so I was thinking about that, and I was thinking, if I were going to give you guys information and tell you how to keep your businesses moving forward, what would I tell you? And keep it simple. And I think that what I would tell you is make one contact daily. You know, I know we tell you to do 10 a day. If you're not doing that, pick one contact every day. Add that person to your database and send a note. If you only worked 200 days a year, you'd have 200 people more in your database by the end of a year's time. That's a lot. If they figure, I think they expect you to get 12% return out of your database. So for every 10 or every 12 people that you put and add into your database and keep in touch with, you should be getting a commission from them. So think about if you added 200. You know, that's close to 10 deals a year extra from what you already have. So make one contact every day. Keep it simple and small. And how hard is it to talk to one person about real estate every day? Copy the contact information down, put it in your database, and then send them a note. Then you can add them to your routine. So what are you guys doing for a routine to keep in touch with the people in your database? Does anybody have a routine? Does anybody have a system? Yeah. Yeah. Are you using that? Okay. Well, when I get my database, but don't you need a business now? So what are you doing right now to make sure that your database is working for you? Because you know that 12% return on your database, you're not going to get it if you don't keep in touch with those people and ask for their business and ask for their referrals. So what can you do today, starting today, just to make one simple change that's going to help you to create business for yourself? I just gave you an answer.
Yeah, no, actually, it wasn't.
Right.
I don't have a good system of reaching out in a systematic way.
Okay,
So, you know, like, oh, I don't know what I call them, you know, let's just say Jen.
so you're not putting it in the database and making notes when you talk to them so that you know when to talk to them again, right?
Correct.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so how are we gonna fix that? Okay,
Because I'm trying, you know,
all right, do you have a drip campaign? Okay, so you want to have a drip campaign, right?
yes,
Because if you're supposed to touch people 32 times a year, and I think it's more now, I think it's 36 times a year now, that they want you to touch them. You're gonna talk to them 4 times a year. So let's rate what we're gonna do, right? If we use that system, that alphabet system where we're calling two letters a week. So we'll talk to them 4 times a year. 4 conversations. I don't care if there's a voice to voice, face to face, but you really want to have 4 conversations a year with the people in your database, especially your sphere of influence, past clients, and those kind of people, right? And how about if we send them 12 this month in real estate? That should be easy to set up in Command, right? So now we're up to 16. What else could we do? This month in real estate. You know the video? It's a drip campaign. And you know, you can make your own video of this month in real estate and post it on Facebook too. Right? You guys get that? Well, what else could we do?
so,
Send them a note. How many notes do you want to send per year?
no, like 4 quarterly.
Okay? 4 notes. So let's make a plan. What would be the occasions that you're going to send them a note? Because you don't want to just send them a note, no reason. Well, I mean, you can.
Mine is a growing Celtics, Patriots. and
You're going to send magnets?
That was the idea, my way to do it.
Okay. Are you going to do it for more than one sport?
Well, because the big 4, I know the.
So it's hockey, basketball,
Yeah.
football, baseball.
The good old Red Sox.
Okay. So we've got 4 notes. How about greeting cards? Could we do greeting cards? How many greeting cards would you do? How many do you want to do? You guys want to vote on it? Number now, 200 people in your database. It can get expensive to send out the notes and the greeting cards, so make sure you keep it in your budgets. So your greeting cards, holidays, birthdays, anniversaries, you said? Or something like that.
For a business card in there?
No, not cheesy at all.
I think you know the phone.
What would the thank you note be?
Thank you for your purchase, or just checking in, or
One of those a year?
not really your like,
So I would say, I would take that off of here. Some people aren't gonna send magnets, but 4 notes a year would be great. So you could also do thank you. Thinking of you. What else? Anybody else have an idea? And if we get well. Okay. When you send these kind of cards, sympathy, get well, thinking of you, I wouldn't put your business card out there. I know it goes without saying, but you know.
sorry, you did that.
Yes, I And I don't want your database to think, oh God, they only contact me when they want something. So even when you're making your 4 conversations a year, I don't want you to always be asking for their business necessarily. If it doesn't feel comfortable for you, just make it about connecting, right? Now, I'm probably not in line with what the gurus will tell you, but I'm telling you right now that I've built my business on referrals, past clients, and their referrals, and my sphere of influence. And for example, we do events. We do at least a couple of events a year. And we're coming up on our pie giveaway. Yep, we don't ask for anything when we give away the pies. We don't say, you know, do you have a referral for us? We don't do anything like that. We just give. And the funny thing happened is one of my past clients called, and him and his brother were selling a parent's home who had passed away. And so I met with the 2 of them, and we got all done the meeting, and he looked at his brother and he went, now you'll be a client. Now you can be on the pie list. So things that make your clients feel special.
So you get 500 past clients.
Yep.
How do you do that?
So we have all of our past clients in our database. Sharon will tell you she's going crazy right now trying to get them to all respond. First we send out an Evite. And now Evite also allows you to send out text messages. So now we're sending out first the Evite, then the text message, and then a follow-up phone call. So that counts as one of our 4 conversations, right? Plus, if they come to if they answer us on the first Evite and we don't have to talk to them, but they come and pick up their pie, then that also counts as one of our 4 conversations.
So they don't go to a location where
They're gonna come here this year. Usually do it in Westminster. Yep. Yeah, Sharon's desperately trying to get the number ironed out because we're supposed to order by today. She's not gonna order by today. We already gave her a tentative number, but we need to give them a solid number. So now let's count. So we have 4 and 12 is 16, 20, say 24, 26. We've got 26 without even trying. Bless you. Nick Pelletier. Oh my gosh, he's got the best idea. He's this year doing a gingerbread house party. So all the kids will come, build their gingerbread houses, and you know he gets to have conversations. But at these events, we're not trying to ever sell anything, and we're not trying to get referrals. We're just giving. So we've got 26 right there. We could do another email, right? Rather than just this month in real estate, we could also add another email once a month. which, you know, there are drip campaigns that are all set up for you, and all you have to do is put your people in there and it'll send them. So if you did 12 more, drips. Now we're at 36, right? It's not that hard. You just have to have a plan. Your plan should be done now. Like, for example, we always did pies, so that's easy for us. We don't even have to think about one of our events for next year. I think the other event for next year might be a barbecue at our house, because we live on the lake. So there's our 2 events. We should have a venture group barbecue, right? At my house. Yeah, we should do that. But like I said, you should have a plan now. You shouldn't be sitting there in February saying, what am I going to do with my, how am I going to keep in touch with my, no, we have this done ahead of time every year. So that we don't even have to think about it. It's a system. The busier you get, the better your systems need to be so that you don't lose them. Because the easiest thing in the world to have happen when you are a busy realtor and you start getting busy is to stop doing the things that got you busy in the first place. But if you guys aren't doing that, or some form of that, and I don't care if it's 36, I don't care if it's 12, whatever you do should be consistent, and it should be something that you're totally comfortable with. And if you're not comfortable with sending out greeting cards or magnets, spending the money on that kind of stuff, you don't have to. Now we have in command those neighborhood reports that they'll get every month automatically. You got to make sure that your people's neighborhoods are accurate, though, because if you start sending them out stuff that's not accurate, which a lot of those command neighborhoods aren't accurate yet, like Ashford Hill, Westminster, don't even bother trying. Once that becomes accurate, though, that's 12 more. You know, you can put it in one of those 12 polls and send them an email every month. And it happens automatically. You don't even have to think about it. But if you are not, if you're putting names in your database, hooray, good for you. If you're putting names in your database and then you're not doing anything with them, it kind of defeats the purpose. So my goal for you guys is this year, just have a plan like that, any plan. I don't care if it totals 36, if you're more comfortable with 12, that's fine too. Just make sure one of those at least is a conversation, and preferably 4. Does that make sense to everyone? So who's gonna have a system this year for 2020? Yeah. 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 Honestly, I'm just trying to emphasize, if you're telling me that you don't have enough business and yet you're not adding people to your database and then doing something like this, and anything is better than nothing. So I'm not saying you have to do 36. But if you're not doing anything to get business from the people that you know, you're kind of, it's like having a chair with only 3 legs. So it's got to be one of your lead generating, in my opinion. It's one of the most reliable lead generating areas that you have, because you've either done business with those people before, or they trust you already because you're part of their family or their friends or their sphere somehow. So your past clients and your sphere of influence, in my opinion, are the most important people in your database. So that being said, it's you guys' turn now. Let's start with Jess. How's it going?
It's going.
That's good.
Yeah. I currently have a property under agreement with Onside.
Yes. And when is that closing?
Supposed to be on the 18th. That one's on one too now.
December 18th,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And, is the buyer all set? Do they have everything they need?
Yeah, we had her almost an underwriting before even the DNS.
Great.
Because we had her, get pre-approved timely, and that kind of gauged what we were gonna go with and what towns were appropriate for her and her price range. And they're both a second couple, so they were price range. And like I just in our teeth, it's like how it's happening, and I'm so thankful. God, keep them going, let's keep going. So I'm excited. I hope it works out for them. They're looking to extend their family and kind of have their own little place to put down roots. And yeah, it's a cute little property.
What town?
Where?
Oh,
Not
really?
even kicking butt, like, yeah, oh yeah, but we got a really good deal, so I think it's worth it, and I do my comps, and.
So tell us what that means. You did your comps.
Oh, okay. Liz, I kind of, obviously I'm not an expert in there, but I have friends who are from Western Mass, who kind of told me like what's on the market, but also on MLS. And I looked up properties that are currently in the market that are similar, that sold in the last 6 months or that are under agreement in the last 6 months, and what was expired or whatnot. This property is kind of all a little unicorn, but I was able to get things within 1 years of age. Because I try to do square footage, maybe like a couple hundred square feet off. Like this house, I think, is 1,800, so I'll go down to like 16 or up to 2,000, but it doesn't really, every house is different, so, but the inspection came back and it was great. I did my comps and I did that, and I used like 5 from each list, and I presented it to my clients, and I looked at the field card on it, and that's how I kind of comp things out. Is that correct? Or is that not correct?
So, I mean, we all do it a little bit differently. I kind of take the old fashioned stance where I will pull, if I think it's $100,000 property, I'll pull from $50,000 to $150,000 properties. And I want 3 categories: active, under agreement, and sold.
Okay.
And I will pull them and I will put them in a photo summary. And then I'm going to eliminate many of them just by scrolling through, right? And when I get, what I'm looking for is 3 in each category. So 3 actives, 3 under agreements, and 3 sold. And when I get those 3, and how I'm doing that is like I said, first I'm going through and I'm automatically eliminating a whole bunch of them that obviously I don't even have to open the listing. I can just look at the summary report and say that's not even close. I've got a 3-bedroom ranch and this is a 1700 colonial, right? So it's not apples to apples at all. So I eliminate those first, and then I go through again and I'll take a closer look. I don't even break it down to square feet because I don't want to miss anything that might work. Because what happens is when you put your comps into the CMA, and you may not have even gone this far, you don't have to do it in the CMA format when you're just checking a buyer's price for them. But when you average those prices, it's also going to give you an average square foot price. And so you can take the property that you're trying, the subject property, and take that average square foot and figure it out from there as well. When you've got enough data, you've got now 9 properties, hopefully.
Yeah.
And when you've got that much data, you should be able to figure it out. Per square foot, it should be around this. And my property is 1,100 square feet times the average square foot price should be somewhere in this range. Now, of course, that doesn't always work because you have to take into consideration finishes. Is it in good repair? Is it in very poor condition? Or is it in really special condition? So you have to use your, I like the fact that RPR does it automatically, and there are other places that you can go and double check your prices. But I figure the human, we're the human that adds a human touch to it. And so we need to be able to use our instincts too. Like, I'm not going to take a builder grade property and completely compare it to a high end property, even though it might be the same floor plan and the same square footage, I need to make sure that I adjust in my mind anyway for that difference.
Yeah, there were so many, I thought square footage came into like, maybe easy for 10 of these.
Yep.
Because it's basically a cape, but it's redone all on the inside, but it's from the 30s. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of capes out there and ranches out there in the 40s.
Right.
And, yeah.
Right. So you're pretty comfortable that it's moving along smoothly?
Yeah, I know. No,
Yeah.
I know. I hope it goes through. They're really sweet and they're really excited. They've been great. Every time I need something or to get them to an appointment with a loan officer, you always kind of need it happen. Obviously with their convenience, but they're excited about being there and going through it.
Good.
And the other agents, sweetheart too. It's always helpful when the other
Yeah.
agent is great as well.
Yep.
She's very like down to earth and very sweet. Obviously, I'm sure like it could be a stuff like it could be a phase of hers, but like she seems very genuine, and I'm excited to work with somebody who has my similar interests.
Yeah, and so what we need to understand, and I'm sure that it sounds like we both do, is that the real estate agent is a small world. You know, in the North Central Mass Association of Realtors, there's only 450 or 500 agents. And so the chances of you running across each other more than once is pretty high. And you don't want to go to submit an offer and have someone say, oh, I hope they don't have the best offer. I don't want to work with her again, right?
Yeah, she's, but you can tell that she'd be a pitbull too, but she's so sweet.
Yeah.
It's true.
Good.
There's been agents that are like, over on time, but like he's so offensive and whatnot. Not that I do something offensive, but like you just know their mentality. Yeah, she's been like, you know, like a sister and that whole thing.
Good. That's awesome. Good job. Jason.
I have a question. I have a buyer that's looking around $100,000 entry. And he's thinking of purchase the property, or do I want to get a mortgage, which is kind of like grown beyond. I'm going to do a credit.
So she should be talking not only to her lenders, but to her accountant, because you don't want to. Yeah.
He doesn't like real estate, so.
Well, then maybe she needs a new accountant.
Financial advisor.
And then, you know, I share my applicant benefits of using the Keller mortgage and stuff like that. You don't have any advice on whether which way to use it?
I think it really depends. And it depends on whether it's going to be a long-term hold. But one of the things it depends on, is this going to be a quick flip, or is it going to be a long-term hold? Is it going to be important for her to get a better rate? Or is it going to be just, let's hurry up and get this in place and go and get it turned over with and blah, blah, blah. I can't just really answer that question.
Yeah.
She needs a financial advisor or an accountant or someone, even the lender can sit and talk to her about the different programs and what the options, what the benefits of each are. Yeah, well, if she's going commercial, you'll need to check her Keller. Okay. Yeah. But she's buying commercial property.
No.
She's buying residential property. Is she buying it and holding it?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. So she really should talk to the lender, see the different options that she has, what the benefits of each option is, and then make her decision from there. She can't expect you to be making her business and financial decisions for her.
Yeah, she just keep growing.
That's her responsibility. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yes. Yep. Absolutely. And so.
She's super gonna know about buying. She doesn't know how she wants to buy it.
Yep.
So. I guess that's the one question.
Is that coming on your one?
It's my phone ring.
So send her to her accountants and lenders.
Yeah. they're the experts. You're the expert in finding her the right property. You can help her get finance. You can get her through the situation. But if she wants business advice, I'm not
No, she
sure.
just wants to know the best way to whether it's.
Well, that really depends.
Yeah.
It really depends. It's not an answer you can just, it's not gonna be the same for every one of you. It'll be different depending on your situation. And her accountant would be the best person probably to give her.
I keep telling her, not my name. kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm doing, but she keeps asking me.
You do have a business background.
Yeah, I would say, I would get the mortgage myself, and then probably would use Carol mortgage.
I would probably get the mortgage myself as well, and I would not want her to come back to me and say, do you know if I used my business line of credit that I could have blah, blah, blah?
Yeah.
And you told me to go this way.
Yeah.
So I would keep sending her back to her accountant or an accountant or at least business advisor.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay. Equity on it.
I mean, it depends. Depends. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not gonna answer that question for her. I can't. Really does depend. It's really not an easy answer.
So, yeah, my advice would be, I would go on, investigate the best mortgage opportunities. So I can calculate all these investors that keep their cash or whatever,
Mhm.
so that they can buy another property
Mhm.
or use it to do the upgrade.
They have to think she's probably gonna have to put 25% down if she's buying it as an investment anyway. So she's gonna have to come up with that money.
I should live in there.
No, this is strictly like a buy strategy.
So maybe she's, her best bet is gonna be, and I don't want you to give her this advice, but it could be that she's gonna use her business line of credit for the down payment. If she's allowed to do that,
Yeah.
depending on the mortgage that she goes
She's
to.
asking, do I buy with the business line and then roll it over to a mortgage after?
Yeah, I would tell her, go talk to your accountant.
That's why we have properties in the buy.
Good.
Have a pre-listing presentation. Push it out.
Okay.
It's gonna be in the spring.
Okay, well, you know, one of the agents here told me that her new strategy is that when people say they're not ready to list, she's gonna get them to sign a listing and a delayed entry.
Yeah.
And so that she can, she's got like 7 lined up for spring.
Yeah.
So that she knows that she's got a pipeline.
I heard that too.
So, it's not a bad thing to do. Just because somebody says they want to list in the spring, doesn't mean you can't get paperwork signed now. And then do a delayed entry and leave the entry date blank. Because then you can put it on whenever they can call you and say, okay, I'm ready. You can be like, okay, let me get the photographer out there, let's go.
So what do you ask for, like, a year on that sort of thing?
On the exclusive right to sell agreement,
Yeah.
I never do less than 6 months, but if you know they're not gonna list before, I
Yeah.
would definitely add 6 months on top of that. So, yeah, you could. Yep, absolutely. It's not a bad strategy, at least, and some of them will fall off. Like some of them will change their mind, right? They won't want to sell, or whatever the case may be. But at least they know they're committed to you and they don't have to shop anymore. And you don't want them shopping. You don't want people to say, oh, well, did you put your house on the market? Yeah, I'm going to use Judy. Oh, well, did you sign anything yet? Yes, I did. Oh, okay. Otherwise, it's, oh, well, if you haven't signed anything, you should let me talk to you about listing your property, right? So now you've eliminated all the competition because they've already signed a listing agreement with you. If you can do it. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Joe,
That was going on. Everything we're trying to do is,
Joe's got something that's closing shortly. I don't know what he's saying.
right, that's, yeah, that's, closing.
systems that create.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to set up a daily plan.
Yep.
A process for different, like, within 5 years.
Yep.
There was a class on that last week.
Yep. Did you go to it?
I did
And how was it?
exactly what he's talking about.
But yeah, with that,
Create systems, so.
Is that what-
it's always the same.
Was that cross country morning?
Yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of people in the class, but.
It was
it's just
Tony,
happened.
Tony,
I wanted to.
Tony Pagnelli, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't get there.
You know, I should have taken
Yeah.
it, right?
That's one thing. I-
As we get better equipment,
Systems
Yeah.
like you're talking about.
we'll take more classes, but they're kind of rough, you guys. Well, you noticed that these recordings, they come out kind of rough on my computer with just this microphone. As we get the room built out better for recording classes, we'll start recording them all.
Yeah.
Because I really want to get to that point with you guys. Yeah.
a lot of good upcoming classes. I haven't been to them all, but there are a lot of, like today, we had one off chance and then couldn't make it earlier in the day. But
Yeah, even Kelly went to that one, so she said it was good.
So I'm trying to incorporate that.
Good. I think, so for me, like I said, keep it simple, right? And give yourself a written plan. And like I said, if you make one contact a day, that's a plan. It really is. And another part of my plan is to attend 2 classes a month. So add that to your business plan as well. Attend 2 classes. So every month when that calendar comes out, just pick which 2 classes you're going to attend. Otherwise, it can get really overwhelming because there's a lot of classes. And you might not be able to attend them all. Okay. Kevin,
Yes.
what's going on? What's the dates of those?
My seller was 29.
Supposedly?
And,
Why supposedly?
no, I mean, that's.
Is everything going smooth?
Yeah, we can give an extension for the financing, which is up tomorrow. And then transfer it to 29.
Okay.
Just because I'm purchase and seal it back and forth,
Yeah.
I mean, some things like, but she kind of had a quick closing date. Even I, for a lot of experience, thought that was kind of quick. So,
They can do, I mean, they can do the return things.
yeah.
But, you know, it's always good if the seller understands that it could get extended out.
Yeah, no way, we have negotiations.
Yep.
So, yeah, that should be, then the other one, my buyer, that's supposed to be okay.
Good.
So,
That's awesome.
and other than that, I got a couple pending. Maybe we're across the street. I'll try to find some.
Well,
Well,
you know, half
I was
of
hoping you couldn't afford to buy our house. I would have liked it sold out. But no such luck.
we're recording that. Yeah,
Then I had to make, still gonna make this place. I think he's getting sick. He's just gonna.
good. That's good. Last but not least.
So I have, the deal set to close on 20th of December, but I'm pretty sure that's kind of it. This one, it's like we had 3 extensions on the home inspection, now an extension
Yep.
back and forth. I'm probably driving the other agent nuts.
Nope, because that's perfect.
Yeah,
So it's okay that things don't happen on time as long as we extend them, right?
yeah.
You're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing.
I did have a question for you. So when they sign a purchase and sale, the amount of money that they're putting down for that second deposit is very small.
Okay?
Do we do a cashier's check? We have to do it.
No, you don't have to. And it's my policy as a listing agent, I never want a personal check for the second check. And I'll tell you why. It takes a long time for checks to clear, truly clear. And way back early in my career, I got caught because even though I had collected a check from a foreign bank, and it went like 6 weeks, and all of a sudden they bounced the check. And so now we have no deposit. And not only that, but if you're closing, so you're gonna have your purchase and sale check, your deposit number 2 come in. It may not be 3, it's gotta be at least 3 weeks till closing in order to, at least our office policy here is if the closing is within 3 weeks of that check coming in, it has to be a cashier's check. And so rather than worry about, is it 3 weeks? Is it 3.5 weeks? Is it 2.5 weeks? Guess what? Just always do a cashier's check for that second check, and then you don't have to worry about it.
You were talking about it earlier. You can waive the smoke detector?
If you're paying cash,
Oh.
so lenders never let you waive the smoke detector. Yeah.
I want to make sure I got the rest of it.
Yeah. That's a good point, though.
Yeah.
So, especially investors do this all the time, and if the attorney doesn't, the attorney's paralegal obviously didn't get that, didn't understand that. But investors do this all the time. If there's a property that is going to be vacant because they're redoing it, and if they're redoing especially wiring and whatnot, and bringing everything up to code, and yada yada, they're going to have a building permit. You, as a cash buyer, can waive that smoke detector certificate requirement. And it's waiving it, but it's really only prolonging it because you cannot occupy that building without going and getting that smoke detector certificate. So she needs to understand that she can waive it for now, and complete it while she's doing her renovations. But when somebody's ready to move in there, they need to have that done. Typically, so he's doing an auction property, and it's a bank-owned property. And so bank-owned, quite often in their contract, it'll say the buyer's responsible to do the smoke detector certificate. Well, you don't want to go in there and spend $200, $300, $400 on something you don't own, right? And so quite often it happens that the investors paying cash will have that section waived by their attorneys.
I ran into this during my second transaction. Sold 2 family. Maybe hardwired.
Yes.
So we tried that, we put that in thinking, I sell it, didn't have that. It's a long story.
I stand.
Maybe hardwired.
We're losing it.
A couple grand.
Helps out.
Have, so, he ended up doing it.
Yeah, it can be very expensive if you have to do hardwired, and it has never been done before, especially if you have to add new wiring. That's kind of a big deal. And so, like I said, if it's an investment property, an investor is buying it with cash, they can waive that, especially if it's their responsibility.
So the other thing on this one was, it came down to the buyers didn't feel good about the well that's currently in the house and the well pump. So they had their own person come out, and then the sellers had someone come out. With all the information, they decided that they still wanted to go ahead with the transaction. in that period of time that they were thinking about it, they do have the option of up to the town lines, because they're on by the house. So while they were thinking about it, the listing agent said, why don't you increase your purchase price by 2,000? And the sellers will put that 2,000 down to the town. And I was thinking about that, because I know you can't take money back. You know, you can't, yeah.
But they could prepay for out of the hookup.
So then I was thinking, how would you do that? You'd write into the purchase and sale?
Sellers to
Seller to
prepay,
prepay,
town,
yeah.
X amount of dollars towards, eventual.
Okay. So what we ended up doing was, they ended up taking 4,000 back as closing costs and prepaid. They had money to aside in their own account, so they'll use that money to hook up to the town.
Yep, they could do
Get
that.
down to closing. Yeah, we thought it would be, I just didn't want to take a chance putting more on the sellers to do it. I was like, why, you guys can do it. I mean, you have the.
Well, then they have the control.
Yeah, then they
And
have the
plus-
control.
So, I mean, let's play that out, right?
Yeah.
If the seller puts 2,000 as prepaid towards the water hookup.
Yeah.
And the buyer decides they don't want to hook up right away.
Yeah.
That money's sitting there
Sitting, yeah.
in limbo all that time, but they might as well just have it in their checking account, right?
So that's
So it worked out better for you, I think.
yeah, I think it did. They didn't mind, I know that for the buyers, they could try to get money back for closing costs, but they were like, oh, we didn't know we could do that. I know we talked about it.
Yep.
But, yeah, so they were happy with that.
That's awesome. And that's going on rather smoothly now, right?
Well, now we get lawyers, so
Oh, yeah.
that's kind of fun.
But
And,
you did all the negotiating, so you shouldn't have any, there shouldn't be any negotiations at this point. It should just be.
No, I called their attorney, he's in Beverly, Mass. And I just told her, because she was like, oh my God, the PS is due today. I said, no, it's not. I sent you the extension, so you have it. And I said, you got a couple more days, and I asked her how she does things. I make sure she was going to be going to PS, but we'll see. Tonight, when I talked to her, I asked her, I said, how do you do this? She said, I send it to both of you at the same time, so you both can review it.
Good.
Okay. I feel better.
That's good.
It's in Townsend. And talk to me if you have a property in Townsend, because I'll tell you how the water quality works there.
So
That-
you tell us that.
Oh, it's
because
awful.
People need to know in towns like Westminster now, when they do Title V, they also require a water test.
Yeah.
So we need to know that.
So
tell us
they
about
didn't,
towns.
they don't require the water test with the Title V.
Right.
It's just a separate requirement that the water be tested, and Townsend has its own MCL, maximum contaminant levels. So you can only use the person from the Neshoba Board of Health, which at this point are at MedCap, or a licensed DEP person to be able to take the sample. And it can't go to ETR, that lab that everybody uses, because they don't comply with something that Neshoba wants done, so it has to go to a different lab. And it literally took a full 5 days for it to come back. And now you're calling and calling, and when's it coming back? Because it was a VA loan, so of course the VA wanted the results.
Yeah.
And we had to keep extending the home inspection. But it's a requirement of the town, and once the town tests, they send that to the Board of Health in town. So now they know which properties have passed and which don't. And right now, they're not coming after people, but they will start to get people in compliance, so.
Good, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, that was, and it was $360 for the test.
Yeah.
So that was a bit of, yeah, and so now in hindsight, if I have another Townsend property, I'll be trying to push that on the sellers.
And kind of,
Yeah.
it probably should be a seller expense.
Yeah.
If it's required. It's so things like Title V is a seller expense because it's required by the state in order to close on property.
Yeah.
So it should fall right along the same
Yeah.
lines, right? Same with smoke detectors. Unless you have a foreclosed property, usually the smoke detector is a seller expense. So I would think that the water test would be the seller expense if the town requires it.
They say Westminster is required, it's something new.
No,
No, it's not that new, it's just,
Anytime you have a septic system, in any town, assume you have to have the water tested.
Yeah,
If
that's
they
not,
say no, then that's fine. If at least you're aware of it. The last thing you want to know is 5 days before closing, somebody comes up, the lawyer will come up and say, well, where's this water test result? And then you're going crazy. The other thing I would do is if the city does require it, I'm gonna have to sell the right away. Let
Yes.
them do it right away, because then they'll know whether or not they have arsenic or radon in the
Right.
water. And arsenic is not that bad of an expense to take care of. Radon is a very expensive, and if you ever seen those aeration radon units, they're noisy, they're bulky, and at least the solar's not gonna be surprised. You know, it's like, hey, it is what it is, it's your house, and your water is gonna be tested anyway. Again, if the town says your water doesn't have to be tested, then it leaves that to the seller, because if the water test it, they're gonna find out, but once you test that water, and there's arsenic and radon on the water, now you've got full disclosure. You know?
Yeah, and same with like your pH levels. I did water testing twice, my level stagnant for like 3 years. So I'm thinking back at arsenic lead, the pH was super low, but then we ran it again, we were putting water throughout. It was fine, and then back in August, the rings around my tubs and everything, and the water tasted alcohol, that's talky. And I'm like, what is going on? So I had somebody come out and test the water. So my pH dropped half a point and it was rusting the copper out of my pipes. Wow. So that was like pinhole leaks. And so I had to pay $6,000 because when I retested my radon, I did it all at once. I was like, I'll pay you in cash. Like an old man. I was like, I'll give me a cash discount. They're like, we'll give you like this tax free weekend so you need for your tax. But I meet this guy at like 5 o'clock on the Friday. Oh, it's so crazy. But I did it and I saved some money. But yeah, no, I know a guy, he needs one. And it was just, it blew my mind. Now I have like a classification system to help, like, you know, put the good stuff into the water when it comes through. And the radon in Massachusetts, I think you're allowed to have up to 10,000. Like, whereas everywhere else is like, even New Hampshire, the Granite State is like 2,000 or 3,000. It blows my mind. And I don't know if they educate you on it, but like radon, if you breathe it in the shower, it can make you lung cancer and like all these crazy things. So I'm like, no, I want to live here for my life, like a good one. So I went to Google of it all, but like, it's been working fine now. But I tested my water and something still happened. So just watch pH as well.
and here's the thing, people don't test their water after they move in. So at least, if there's a well, one of the things I always do with buyers is recommend they have it tested, even if it's not a town requirement, because you just don't know. And what leaned me that way was when I was selling Fannie Mae properties, this little family had gotten foreclosed on. And it was so sad. You know, it always touched me when I went in and to the house the first time after they moved out. And the little girl, I think she was probably preteen, had written all over her walls, like every day she wrote on it like it was a journal. And it was so sad, and it started off real bright and happy, and it ended up real sad. And, oh, it was horrible. And then the buyer came along, and the buyer had a well test, and there was high doses of arsenic in the water. And I thought, see, everything happens just the way it's supposed to. Those little children were probably being poisoned by their own water. And, you know, thank God they got foreclosed on, I guess, because they probably never would have checked that water, ever. So,
Even if they did, they probably never wanted to.
exactly, Stan, that's right. Stan, do you have anything you want to talk about today?
No. I'm doing all I'm really saying. So I've got to sit here and learn and listen.
and help us, yes. We love to have seasoned agents come in and all different levels. Everybody has some good stuff to say. Does anybody have anything else they want to talk about today? Yeah.
And on listing, it says that half listings have like single family residential, but then on the bill card it's like RC. That mean rural commercial?
So you have, every town has their own, it probably does, but every town has their own legends. And it will, if you go into the zoning bylaws, it will tell you what each,
District.
what each zoning district requires, or what they can do with that property.
They usually do a nice table for it
Yeah.
too, that if you're in this district, you have to have this much square footage of wall.
Right.
You know, sidelines.
Now, can we represent something?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So I'm gonna ask a question, I'm gonna go around the room, as it kind of goes with the theme that we've worked on today. What's the one thing that you're gonna do for next year to make sure that your business grows? Kevin, let's start with your side.
Well, the king, wing it, try to get.
Okay. Fair enough. You gonna do the one contact thing?
Yeah, fine.
You know what, even if you do one a week, it's still 52 contacts a year, right?
Yeah, I mean, I need contact all the time with business.
Yes, but are you putting them in the database and keeping in touch with them in a systematic way? Julie?
I still want to. I really don't. And, I have spent out time to show to people that know. It's very fun. So, yeah, that's a really task.
Okay. Yeah, good for you.
We had a Halloween party this year, and I kicked myself afterwards because we did a big haunted tour through our property. We had between 60 and 70 people there. And did I use that at any kind of opportunity? Nope. Nope.
So next year when you set
We're
up,
gonna do an event, we're gonna have another party, and I wanna do like a donation to a charity and all of that, so.
Yeah.
I can bring in a real estate for that.
and you know, the other thing I thought of with the Halloween stuff is we give out candy every year from
Yeah.
both Westminster and Ashford, yeah. And one of the things I was thinking you could do is take your sign and make it like a headstone.
Oh, there you go.
And decorate it all creepy with mommy coming out, you know,
Yep.
that kind of thing.
Oh,
So,
definitely, yeah.
yeah, at least gives you a little recognition. Stan, what's the one thing you're gonna do next
What I
year?
really need to do is get a little more into the social media. We have a Facebook professional page.
Yeah.
But I need to add more content and I don't know what I'm interested in. I need to do that. Start promoting, listings, sales and things like that. And I just need to spend some time with someone who might be a little more fun about it. I'm trying to figure out my own, but I thought to somebody said, this is simple, especially with the new command. Something that's coming down, they have some technology there that I think will assist in putting content out.
It
So
really
that's
does.
one thing, Sandy and I should do, more so than we're doing now. Almost not existing.
You could probably set up an appointment with Anthony.
I know, every time I sit here and try to Anthony, again, you're right. You just said, hey, this is real simple. You're
Yeah.
just gonna do it.
Yeah. Absolutely, that's great. That's great. Jess?
Definitely, I used to love taking classes and taking that time and letting it out for me to go take some classes and talk to more people about real estate since you talk to so many people as it is. And I think it does come naturally, but a lot of times, like, I don't want to overstep my bounds because my other job is construction, which is fine, but they might already have a realtor.
Right.
Or if I'm already in my parking. So I guess kind of interview process, but silently interview people more often, so I can see if I can open that Pandora's box with them.
Sure, open the door.
It's hard to ask.
No.
It doesn't, and as long as it's not conflicting with what you're doing.
Or my boss.
Yeah.
He's actually, he's like, oh, thanks for learning that new law. I'm like, thanks, no problem. Yeah.
Awesome. Jason?
Systems, procedures, time management.
Oh, time management, that's a good one. Yeah. What are you gonna do to get your time management under control?
True real estate, moving, 5 jobs.
Are you you're gonna put everything down in your calendar?
I don't know most of the stuff on the calendar.
Okay.
If I'm gonna be successful, I'm thinking of.
Do you categorize your calendar, like color code it? Because you can color code it, you know, income producing would be green, income producing activities like your lead gen, showing property. Do yourself a favor and get some highlighters. Did you go to Bold ever?
No.
Bold teaches you how to color code. And see me, and I will try to show you that if you want, if you're interested in it.
Yeah, I think, there's your systems and processes.
But you want to spend 30% of your time doing income producing activities. Yeah. Joe.
All the things Jason talked about, but one thing is never try to set up 15 days for people that I do know, I have contacts, probably 20 to 30 that I just send them stuff. They would have me on their mind.
Yep.
Which I'm not doing. So actually do that.
Okay. That's awesome. How many of you guys are going to stay for the meet and greet at 5:30? There's food. Lynn is, Lynn, you want to speak for a
Oh,
second?
sure. You take this, right? Yeah, I'm gonna ask with Amy Acton. I have been in business for 1,000 years. And a long time ago, about 8 years ago now, for a few years, I was the in-house loan officer for Keller Williams when we were down in the other spot. So I still do business with a lot of the agents up here. And I'm delighted to be back. So tonight I've got lots of food and wine in there for the meet and greet. So whoever can stay, we'd love to.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well,
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, you guys, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it. If you read the offer form, it says the integrated mortgage disclosure shall be attached to the offer and the purchase and sale agreement. So you want to make sure that it shows up there as though it was part of the purchase and sale agreement as well. So it goes with the offer, it starts with the offer, and then it progresses into the purchase and sale agreement. Yeah, yeah. Make sure that you share it twice with your client. It's already signed from the offer time.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yep.
You don't have to sign a second one?
No. No, they don't have to sign a second one. It just has to follow the purchase and sale. So it's supposed to be an attachment to the purchase and sale agreement. Okay? All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good week. Yeah, I'm gonna shut off this recording.
Sorry.
That's okay.